Aloha and welcome to the KupunaWiki radio show. This month we are talking about estate planning, and in studio we have Geoff Sogi of the Tamashiro Sogi Law Firm. KupunaWiki is Hawaii's senior resource. We talk to the best local professionals in the state regarding topics such as real estate, senior housing, estate planning, finance, and health, so that our Kupuna families can find the best resources in the midst of a life transition. We strive to make sure our seniors are informed and supported every step of the way. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Brandon Lau.
And I'm Andrew Leong,
your host for the KupunaWiki radio show.
Our title sponsor for today is the Cheney Brooks Choice Advisors, providing you with the best real estate information so you can make the best informed decision. As they like to say, real estate is about choice. To contact them, contact 735-9033.
And now we have our real estate tip of the week brought to you by Cheney Brooks Choice Advisors.
Our pets play an important role in our lives. In many cases, it determines where we can and cannot move. Oftentimes, community associations will have strict rules on the ownership of pets in their buildings. As surprising as it sounds, not everyone is an animal lover. Fortunately, the Hawaiian Humane Society has published an easy-to-access list of all pet-friendly buildings on the island. Just go to hawaiianhumane.org/pet-friendly-buildings.
For more information on pet-friendly buildings and real estate, contact Cheney Brooks Choice Advisors at 753-9033. Andrew, do you have pets in your household?
I don't, but I have children.
You have kids?
Yes.
I have the same. Sometimes they're probably easier than pets, maybe.
Yes.
When they don't talk back, right?
Exactly.
Well, again, today we have in studio Geoff Sogi, an estate planning attorney with Tamashiro Sogi Law Firm. Welcome, Geoff.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. For those who haven't heard from you before, maybe you can tell us a little bit of your background and how you came into estate planning.
So, I grew up in Manoa, went to Roosevelt High School, graduated from UH Manoa with undergrad, and from the William S. Richardson School of Law at UH Manoa as well for the law degree. I used to work in an estate planning firm before going to law school. The firm specialized in estate planning, long-term care, and special needs planning. So that kind of got my interest going.
Right.
Kind of, wanted me to look more into it and help people navigate that kind of process and kind of see a lot of the issues and the stress that they go through, and I want to find a way to make it easier for people. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what inspired me to get into this particular field.
So you started off working in a law firm before you went to law school.
Yeah.
I mean, did your experience in the early days inspire you to then get into the field and help Kupuna families?
I think so. I think it made a big difference. You get to see how appreciative people are after you've helped them, how much easier you've made their lives, and from there, having more of a formal legal education about it just gives you a greater appreciation for everything, so that when you start to practice as an attorney in this area, you feel like you can provide that much of a better service to the Kupuna, to the elderly community.
Right. Well, it's great that you went to the Richardson School of Law. I mean, you stayed local, kept your local connections and your roots. Yeah. And tell me a little bit about, what do you love about the practice of helping Kupuna in estate planning?
I think the most gratifying part is knowing that after you've helped the person with their estate plan, whether it's doing a will, creating a trust, doing long-term care planning, you've helped them to get that peace of mind. Mm-hmm. Knowing that if anything were to happen, that they should be able to avoid needing to go to court, saving expenses, that if they need a higher level of care, they're not going to be left out in the cold, not going to be able to, they're going to be able to pay for what they need. Mm-hmm. And their families, their loved ones aren't going to be in a stressful situation because they've taken care of all of this in advance, and you're the one that helped them, our firm is the one that helped them do it.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference, I think, for people. So that's the part that really makes it all worthwhile.
And I know that in your firm, it's yourself and your partner.
Right.
Now you guys have a dynamic duo thing going on, right? Both of you kind of specialize in a different facet.
We do. So we both do the general estate planning work. So there's a little bit of overlap. We can both handle that. I specialize in the long-term care planning side. So if people are concerned with future costs of long-term care, long-term medical care, can be really expensive. A lot of times, things like insurance might not cover it after a little while. So we help to make people, allow people to be eligible for benefits that might help to pay for that. On my partner Tyson Tamashiro's side, he also assists clients with contested and uncontested probate proceedings, trust and estate litigation. So if issues arise after a person has passed away, where there's disagreement about what the document says, or just a variety of issues that can arise, he is able to come in and help the family to basically figure out the situation, hopefully diffuse the tension and get it so that the person's wishes can actually be carried out. So from that, those differing sides of the spectrum, we can work together and kind of get a more comprehensive viewpoint of issues that come in. So both of our experiences kind of work into every case that we have in the office.
Right. Well, we like to think of planning as hopefully being a peaceful process, but with your partner Tyson involved, I guess he may have stories where it's not so peaceful.
I think he's
And
a lot more interesting at parties than I am. He has a lot better stories than I do. Yeah.
Well, maybe you can give us a little bit of insight. What are some challenges that can arise in the estate planning process that could use the skills of Tyson as a litigator?
Sometimes there are terms or provisions in the trust that might be vague, or maybe things like errors in the trust, typographical errors, wrong names used, maybe outdated things, might cause the beneficiaries to question whether what they're getting is fair, or what mom or dad actually intended when they wrote the trust. And when there's that kind of disagreement, and money's on the table, then people get a little bit more contentious about things. So then it's a matter of figuring out the fairest way to settle everything, and to make sure that mom or dad's intent is what's carried out. Right?
So it sounds like even though there could be something written out, and you think it's plain language, everybody should understand it, it sounds like there could be potentially other interpretations.
Unfortunately, sometimes maybe laws change, situations change. In those cases, that even the best, the most well-drafted document can run into issues, and it might not be necessarily that there's something wrong with the document itself. It might just be that the children don't agree with who's getting why.
So when that happens, let's just say the document is very plainly understood, but yet one party doesn't agree on what's written. How do you folks resolve that?
A lot of times it has to go through court. So we have a probate court, and a lot of times the parties will present their arguments to the court, and the court ultimately makes a decision on what they think is a fair and equitable outcome.
So it could be decided by a third party, even if it was plainly written in the first place.
It could, yeah. I mean, ultimately, it might ultimately end up coming down to what the judge thinks should happen.
Of course, that whole process is going to take additional fees, costs involved.
It can get very expensive,
right?
And there's no guarantee on any outcome. So a person who is fighting what a trust says might end up walking out with nothing,
Right, or less than
Or
they had
less.
intended to gain from that situation,
Exactly.
right, from contesting the trust.
Yeah.
But would you say that any episode of a contested trust is relatively few and far between?
Yeah, I think that I think that there aren't that many of them, but unfortunately, I think it happens more than people think
Mm.
that it does. A lot of times, it can be resolved without having to go through a hearing, without having to go to court. The parties might come to an agreement outside.
Mhm.
Um, in that case, compromises are still made, right?
Right,
It's a settlement. So, um, unfortunately, fighting is not uncommon,
Mhm.
but it's less common, I think, when someone does have documents that are kept up to date. So, if a person has created a trust, generally we recommend coming in and checking in with an attorney, at least seeing if anything needs to be done. So, every maybe 3 to 5 years,
Mhm.
or if there are major life changes, retirement, marriage, death, birth of a grandchild, for example. When those kinds of things arise, making sure that the documents accurately reflect what the person wants. Um, the more current it is, the harder it is to say that a person's mind changed between the time that they sign the document and the time when this issue comes up.
Mm.
So, having, like I said, documents that are current and you know are well drafted, are clearly drafted, will help to avoid these issues, hopefully, from ever arising.
Well, we're on air with Geoff Sogi of Tamashiro Sogi Law Firm. We were just talking a little bit about what happens when you have a contested trust. But Geoff, in the next segment, we want to hear a little more of what kind of services you provide to your clients, and also how do you meet the needs of changing technology and communicating with your clients. So we'll hear more about that right after this commercial break.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we have Geoff Sogi, estate planning attorney at Tamashiro Sogi Law Firm. And in the first segment, we kind of just talked about the importance of having trust and what issues may also arise with having a trust too. But I want to dive in a little bit of what other services your firm provides. I mean, you mentioned this, long-term care, um, estate litigation, but what other services do you folks provide?
So we do also assist with estate planning documents, wills, trusts, powers of attorney, healthcare directives. These are the documents when you're able to plan in advance can help you to appoint trusted family, friends, loved ones who can help help you manage your finances, make healthcare decisions in the event that you get sick, unexpected illness, unexpected passing. They can make sure that there are people who you have chosen to carry out your wishes and to make sure that you're able to get the assistance that you need. Um, we talk about the long-term care planning, and sometimes planning in advance isn't an option. So our firm assists clients with conservatorships, which is a court proceeding where guardian is appointed to assist with managing property for another person. We do also do guardianship proceedings if a person can't make care decisions for themselves. The court will appoint someone who can help them to manage their own care. And then probate proceedings and trust proceedings that help to administer a person's estate after they passed away.
And so, when when you're dealing with seniors at times, the with today's technology, not everyone is up to date to it with it. And are you folks still with the original mindset of still face to face, going to their property and meeting with them in person um, and kind of just going through with the old style of the paperwork and
Yeah, I think that there's a fine line to navigate, leveraging technology that's available today. maintain the personal touch, the personal connection that you want to have with your client. In our state, we're moving towards filing legal documents electronically, but I don't think that the trust documents, the wills, things that people sign are really gonna go that way. Well, not at the moment. So we do, meet with clients in person. Usually with the initial meeting, we'll explain all the options in person. When we go through the documents at signing, we'll walk them through everything, explain what the documents say, make sure that it's what they want, and then you know, answer any questions before they sign anything. If they need us to visit them at care home or in their own home, we are able to assist with that. But at the same time, we try to be respectful of people who do want to communicate by email, communicate by phone. Some things you don't want to have to come into the attorney's office to talk about. You want to just communicate in a easier way. So we're able to work with clients to do that as well.
And you work the whole island, or is there a special area?
No, we do. We work all parts of the island. Certain things we can assist with on the neighbor islands as well.
Okay.
So anywhere within the state, we try to make it as convenient as possible. Obviously, with the neighbor islands, it's a little harder to do in-person meetings, but then again, that's where you're able to leverage technology. Whether it's or phone or things like Skype or video chatting or things like that.
And where's your office located in case they wanted to come and see you folks?
So our office is right outside of downtown. We're at 705 South King Street. We're a ground floor unit, Suite 108, and it's near the corner of South King Street and Cook Street. So kind of near the Kabuki restaurant, hot sushi. So right outside of downtown, so you don't have to deal with a lot of downtown traffic, lots of parking, and it's a little bit more comfortable setting, I think, for people.
And in the middle of the hustle and bustle of downtown.
Right.
And actually, I think that's a pretty good location because you're only steps away from the bureau where you can help clients record their documents.
Yeah, so it makes it a lot easier for us to get that kind of stuff done faster. Whether it's walking the documents over to the bureau to have it recorded, or walking a document onto court, which is also pretty close to us as well. So the location has really been helpful in being able to provide a more efficient service for our clients.
Geoff, a lot of people come in contact with their estate planning attorney through maybe a seminar or an ad. But what really do you think would set an estate planning attorney apart, one from the other?
I think it's the amount of attention that they'll pay to the client, that the attorney, him or herself, will pay to the client. The amount they'll listen, take the time to answer a person's questions, maintain more of a collaborative relationship, having have the client having the opportunity to feel like what they actually want is in the document. That it's not just what they were told to put in the document, but that it's at what they actually want. And I think that we do our best to make the time for Tyson or myself to actually sit down with the client, to meet with them, to go over what it is that their goals are, and then to guide them to in a way that they will meet their goals without unnecessarily running into pitfalls that we expect them to incur or want to help them to avoid. So I think making sure that you're comfortable with your attorney is a big thing. You have to feel like you can trust him or her with what you need them to do for you. And you have to feel comfortable. You have to make sure that you feel like you understand what they're explaining, and like I to ultimately just feel comfortable with the work that they're providing and the service that they're providing.
I think a lot of people might feel that they need to get a trust just because that's the thing to do. It's not always the case, but it's good to have, right?
It's good to
So,
have.
I mean, I guess you don't want to just go to an attorney who says, okay, here's basically what a template of trust looks like, and then they put their name on it, right? I mean, you're
Right.
going to have to sit down and really get into the personalized details.
I think so. I think that they should, feel the client that comes into the office should feel like the plan that was recommended was recommended for them, and not just to do a trust for the sake of doing a trust. There are other options that we do present. If a client is not interested in doing something very complicated, we'll find ways to help them, avoid certain pitfalls as much as possible. But we don't necessarily want them to feel forced into having to do a trust just because we said so. It has to be a mutually beneficial decision where they understand why it's best, and that they're comfortable doing it as well.
I guess some people that you've come across have some very unique needs for trusts. Maybe you can give us some examples. What are things that you've come across that may be very hyper personalized or very special for that particular situation?
Some people, they have specific charities they want. They might have specific personal property items that they want to give certain people. I think the most fun one that we've encountered was doing a trust for a pet. And Hawaii's laws do allow people to establish trusts for their pets. Typically, I think the most common way to do it is to do a revocable living trust, and the trust will have instructions about providing funds for a pet after the person's passed away.
Is Hawaii unique in that regard?
No, it's pretty common.
Pretty common these days.
Most, if not all, states do have some kind of provision that recognizes pet trusts.
Okay.
And the one that we did was very detailed. It was a lot of fun to do because it was a trust by itself. It was a standalone trust. It wasn't in the client's revocable living trust, and it was for a salamander, which
Wow.
also is not a real common pet. So there were provisions.
Did you have a name? Sal?
Sally. I think it was a
Sally.
her.
As a female.
But the trust said how the money was going to be used for the pet's care, what standard of care that the person wanted for the pet, even who was going to be the appointed caretaker. So there was a lot of detail, and the pet was very important for the client, and this was the beneficiary that he wanted to make sure was taken care of, and so we helped him to make sure that he could meet that goal, and that if anything happened, he was comfortable that his pet was going to be well cared for. So that was a really fun case.
Do you know how it turned out?
So far so good.
Sally's still around.
They're both still around, so hoping it
Well,
stays
you
that
helped
way.
to support a life there.
Yeah, it made them. It made the person comfortable.
Right.
That makes it worth it.
So Geoff, if anyone had any needs for themselves, their parents, or their pets, how can they contact you for your services?
So you can call our office. Our phone number is 808-492-1907. They can also visit our website at www.tslawhawaii.com. There's messaging service to the website, so they can contact us directly through there. And we're happy to talk to people and answer questions.
Well, thanks so much, Geoff. That's Geoff Sogi with Tamashiro Sogi Law Firm. Thanks for joining us in today's show.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up next, we have our KupunaWiki Classic Trivia.